Good morning. Okay, so here we are, back on the mat for about another 10-15 minutes of Pilates. But taking it easy, of course, so we can just feel a little bit more of what's going on with our spines, with our pelvis, our hips, with our shoulders, but especially what's happening with the jaw and with the eyes. You can hold a lot of tension in the face, in the jaw and in the eyes. So that can affect what's happening down here in your pelvis, in your hips, and how we kind of organise our movement and how we move, how we walk, how we run, how we stand. That can tell a lot of what's happening inside our headspace by looking at what's happening around the pelvis. So as you breathe out, just gently press your feet into the mat so the lumbar spine gently drops down to the floor. In other words, you flatten the back. And as you breathe in, allow it to gently roll or tip forwards so you have a space here where you can get your hands through. And as you breathe out, you press your feet down, so just gently, it's not a huge amount of pressure, so you can't get your hands through. And when you release your pressure in the feet, the pelvis tips forward. So you've got the space, and you can see that it affects what's happening up here in the ribs as well. And the ribs tend to lift to the ceiling. And when you flatten the back and let the back roll back to the floor, the ribs tend to drop down sometimes. In some people, they don't. So just see what happens to your body. But as you do that, try not to hold on to anything in the face, so the head moves as well. So as the back arches, you'll find that the chin will just gently drop down towards your throat. And as the back drops to the floor, the chin will lift. So we have more space here, but you have less space in the back here of the neck. So as the back drops, you have less space in the neck, but as the back arches, you have more space in the back of the neck. So when it drops down, the chin will lift as if you're looking behind you. So you can see the orientation of your head by what your eyes can see, what you're looking at. So if you can see the back of the room, you'll know that your chin is lifted and you've got tension or tightness or shortness in the back of your neck. So as you let go of that and the pelvis starts to arch, create more space, the chin drops down and your gaze will be towards your knees or towards the top of the wall where it meets the ceiling. So just play around with that for a moment. It's more than just arching and flattening the back. What's actually happening to the rest of your spine? What happens to your eyes? Where do they look? What can you see as you do that? Where does your head travel? What happens here to the chin? Is there more space between the chin and your chest, or is there less space? Is there more space in the back of the neck, or is there less space? Can you keep your jaw soft as you do that? So you have to think about quite a few things. So that means you're not doing it really fast, it's quite a slow and subtle movement. And how small can you make that movement? Can you notice the lumbar spine moving? So you're honing in on that very small, slight movement of the lower back to notice the movement, but to notice also the head, the skull, the jaw, the eyes. And check you're not holding your breath. Oh, there's always something else. Always something else to think about. Well, just noticing, you're just observing. You're not trying to correct it, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. Just observing, just noticing what happens in your body without feeling that you're doing it wrong or you're doing it incorrectly or it must be pressing more into one foot than the other. Just observing, just being aware, and let the brain organise the movement. Because when you're more aware and you start to slow down, things could reorganise themselves. becomes quite subtle, yes, quite subtle. Okay, and that's just one sense of a little beginning of a lesson in Pilates.